Hi, my name is Allison Rose, and I'm with Flick Direct. How are you, Bruce?
I'm fine, Allison. Good to hear you and see you.
Yes, nice to meet you. So we're here to talk about the Manor, which takes an interesting twist on kind of your old age nursing home kind of fare and makes it a little bit darker and sinister. So tell me about playing your character specifically.
Well, my character, Roland, he loves life. He just gobbles it up. It's the most important thing to him. And what I loved about the script and the character more than anything was this whole new take in a horror genre on some primal fears. I mean, we're dealing with, the veil falling here and abandonment and losing one's marbles. And all of those are primal fears. That's the seventh age in Shakespeare. And everybody's keeps that at bay as much as anything else. We'd rather be scared of monsters and lizards and stuff than something that might be a little too real.
I was going to say reality is much more scary.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where this horror film goes. And go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, so let's talk about exploring the idea of eternal life. What would be the pros? What would be the cons for you?
Yeah, well, that's a tough one. And I mean, we could spend hours on that. But, what is one willing to give up for that? Now, that goes back to the Portrait of Dorian Gray and all of those. What's it going to cost you to have that immortal life, to go back to your youth, to have that for the first time? And when you go back, is love going to be the same thing? Is that first spark that you ever had for someone, is that going to be there? Or is that just going to be a replay of something you're just using up like, cold cereal? All of those things are considered in this, and that's all part of it. So it's very difficult to decide, what you'd give for a few more years, what you'd give to be 21 again, what you'd give to have all of those things and what it would mean. And they're questions that everybody kicks around.
I like the way you look at that aspect of eternal life and shouldn't you, what would it be like if you had eternal life or eternal youth? And I can't imagine going through high school all over again. So
right, exactly that. Do I want to be humiliated again?
No.
Or do I have a comeback now? I've been waiting 50 years for this one comeback to say to that son of a
You know how you always think of the good comeback after
I always
it's over?
thought about when I got in my bedroom after I got done crying myself to sleep about why she dumped me. And then I thought, I should have said that. That would have been, if I just knew that line from Shakespeare that I could throw at her, there's I have loved you as a dream doth flatter, and sleep a king, but waking no such matter. Kleenex.
All right, moving on.
Okay,
Talk to me about your co-stars. You had a phenomenal group of ladies to work with. How did you all play off of each other?
Well, it was just wonderful. It was just, I asked Charlie Durning one time, who is a friend of mine. I said, how do you create all of that stuff? He says, I just think about my life. And I was a young man at the time. Excuse me, but we're all at that point in life where we've been in this business a long time. Barbara and I did my first film together back in called Last Summer with Frank and Eleanor Perry. That was my first movie. I'd never been on a set before.
Wow.
So all of us, have a backstory, and it's already there before they say action. And then we have a director who says, yes, use that, take that. That's why I cast you great actors to do this, because now kick the ball around. Let's see what happens in that card game. All of that was there. So that's how we got to draw on that sometimes.
So was there a lot of improvisation between all of you?
Not so much improvisation, because the script was strict and structured and together. But the feeling, the camaraderie, the connections that we've all had, have the illusion of having been there forever isn't so much an illusion, because we have, we have been there forever.
Yeah, and the three of you bringing Barbara into that little group with your reasons why we won't get into, but it felt like you were almost like family in a sense. So,
Well,
and
actors are always family. I mean, I will have great intimate relations with people and then pick up 50 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later. Remember when we were in Munich driving down that thing and that girl waved to you? You married her, didn't you? Yeah, we all are connected in ways over the years as actors. And actors are already vulnerable and put it out there. Every day they're naked and they put it out there when in their work. That's why I have great admiration for the acting community, because people really put themselves on the line. And then as it comes back to our age, to be able to share that, there's great stuff there. And how wonderful to be mined into a horror genre,
Yeah. Not necessarily you normally see in a horror genre, but it works.
That's Jason Blum and Blumhouse. They sit out on the edge of the wing lots of times. It's start new stuff, and that's what's so amazing and why they're so successful.
Yeah, I mean, they do incredible stuff. So I want to talk briefly about the younger cast, because you mentioned, you've all been there and you've been there on set for how many times, but you had younger cast members that you were working with. So what did they bring to the production?
That's wonderful. I remember when I was that age sitting with an older actor, Donald Pleasance at the time. And he said to me, the thing about being 23 is you think you're immortal and you're not. Like, yeah, okay, I get that, because I think I'm immortal. I don't think about these things, death and life or anything else. But and the balance between the grandmother and the grandson are so, that's the glue that holds everything together, because that's the love connection that holds this story together and really makes you root for it, because we've all, most of us have all had grandparents and been one age or the other, and that's important to us. It means so much, especially in a society that warehouses are elderly.
Yes, very true. Absolutely. And this, in a sense, kind of does that as well, but tries to break that mold a little bit, I think. And so I found it to be very interesting. I love the idea that they made it into a horror movie. But when you first read the script, did you think, is this going to work? Or were you immediately, yes, I want to do this. This is it.
Yeah, well, I did. I wanted to do it right away because it's a great story. And it's a story that holds me from page one to the very end. I want to know where these people are going.
Yeah.
What they're going to pay for this. And oh my God, if that's possible, what are the ramifications of that? And that interested me all the way through from beginning to end. And that's what makes a good film.
Absolutely.
And that's Axel's story, that's Axel created the story as well as directed it.
Yeah, it's kind of a slow burn and you don't necessarily see what's coming, but it works when you find it at the end and you start putting all the pieces back together. So tell me just very briefly a little bit about the Celtic aspect of it. Was that something that you were interested in exploring, or was it just, we're just going to do this, whole little Celtic thing?
Oh, the Celtics. Oh,
yeah,
yes,
sorry.
Celtic. Okay. You say Celtic, I say Celtic. The whole thing on. Yeah, sure. That's all Axel. We were coming up with what works here, and there was some ancient Catholicism I started to bring in at different times, St. Michael's prayer against the devil and all. But that's all hers, all the Celtic stuff came from her. So we
Fantastic.
that was the hook we sort of followed through there,
Well, I can't wait to ask her about that then.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for your time and for the movie, because I think it really is great. And I think it's going to appeal to a lot of different people because it has such an age range, and it's not necessarily what you would normally see from an older group making a
Mhm.
horror movie.
Right.
So
Called
yeah, I
the,
think
called the
I'm sorry.
wisdom of horror.
Yeah.